let's talk about things from a different perspective, okay? Hun tak te assi gal kar rahe si ki how do you introduce this to your American friends? Now, what about parents, okay? Because a lot of teenagers also go through this ki they want to be with their friends, they want to be American enough कि वो सारा कुछ जिहड़े बाकी अमेरिकन लोग कर रहे ने कर सकन, but at the same time ये भी ध्यान रखना पैंदा है कि साडा culture अलग है, the beliefs we have sometimes are different. So how do you guys balance that with your parents? You know, I know you're, like you said, you're too Indian. You're way too Indian for your friends, so maybe this is not a problem for you. But Jasmine, I'll ask you this question. How do you juggle this? How did you do it in the past?
Well, for me, it wasn't that hard because I didn't have a lot of Indian friends when I was younger. So my parents, they would hope that I would make more Indian friends, but I tried to make them understand that, you know, the friends that I'm really happy with the friends that I have now. But then when I did start making more Indian friends, they were really happy about it. Obviously, they were very excited. I would tell my dad, yeah, I have, you know, a new friend, I have Trisha and this, and then they'll be like, oh my God, you have an Indian friend. They'd get so happy. But, you know, when I would want to go out with my American friends and do things that they would want to do, it would be a little hard. Like, for example, my parents weren't too strict, but they didn't let me go to prom like all the other kids because they believed, you know, our cultures are a little different, and for them it was just something that they didn't want me to do, and it was hard, but in the end I understood and they made up for it. So
Okay.
Just have to juggle it out with them.
But you were okay with accepting that fact ki tanu prom te jana and you're not allowed to.
Right.
You were okay with accepting that.
I mean, I was upset.
Yeah.
I was really upset about it. I felt like I missed out. But in the end, you know, my dad talked to me and he made me understand, and I was fine with it. I eventually was fine with it.
Okay.
I made sure he made up for it. So, yeah.
The payback.
Oh, yeah.
Alrighty. And Trisha, what about you then? Do you feel that, you know, being too Indian sometimes, of course, has its benefits with your parents for sure, but how did you feel agar tanu koi American culture de naal koi kuch bhi karna hoye? Like, you know, I don't know if you guys believe in slumber parties and sleepovers, going away to your friends' houses, or, you know, late night hangouts, which I know a lot of parents, Indian parents, still don't believe in it. It's understandable. We respect the culture both ways. But how did you guys accept it when you had to hear no for that?
Well, I mean, I kind of went through a rebellious stage when I was maybe 13
Trisha.
or 14.
Oh my God, Trisha.
It wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad. I just wanted to go to this one no ID party. It was actually a Desi party.
No ID party.
Yeah.
That itself sounds like trouble, but go ahead.
And I begged my dad so much because it was one of my best friend's 16th birthdays, and she knew the promotion crew and everything, so I finally convinced my dad to let me go. And, you know, he didn't let me stay over at the hotel, even though my friend's mom was going to be there.
Okay.
And around 9 o'clock, I was at the party with my friends. He calls me up. He's like, Trisha, do you want to stay over? I'm like, yeah. So he decides to bring me my clothes to the hotel. And he sees what's going on around him. He's like, Trisha, I cannot let you stay here. Like, there's no way. Like, you're definitely coming home tonight. And I was like, okay, can you just pick me up around 11 or 12? He's like, okay, that's fine, but I don't feel like driving home, so I'm just going to wait out here in the lobby. And you can go inside and have fun with your friends, and, you know, I'll be out here when you want to go home. And there were some celebrities performing there, so obviously I wanted to see the performance. But then I felt kind of bad that, you know, like my dad's waiting outside, and some of the people there seemed really sketchy, and I just realized that wasn't my scene. So then, you know, I went home without seeing the performers and everything, and then I found out that a fight broke loose.
Oh.
So I was kind of glad that I listened to my dad and I understood where he came from. So, I mean, after that incident, I don't have too many problems with, you know, hanging out with my American friends and stuff because I know my limits and I understand why my dad has put them there.
Yeah.
So it's a lot easier for me now.
How old were you when you had this incident?
I think I was 15 or 16.
Okay.
So it was maybe a year or two ago.
A year or two ago. Not bad. Wow. That is interesting. Let's take some calls, and then I want you to tell me some more about these bridging the gaps in between. Sethi ji, aap kitho call kar rahe ho? Hello?
Inderjeet from New Jersey.
Oh, Sethi Inderjeet, how are you from New Jersey?
Very well. How are you?
I am doing very well. What a pleasure to hear from you here.
I have a TV home, so as always, your show is excellent.
Thank you so much.
I think your guests should be very proud of what they are saying and what they have done.
Thank you.
Actually. And I want to make a comment about the episode that Jasmine had in one of the restaurants. It's not the first time it has happened, and there's a lot of people in different parts of the world. What she did when she went to the crowd and tried to protect herself and her friend, that reminds me of a movie which was shot in Long Island,
Kamdi Kalai.
In that, the sister of the hero, I think she did exactly the same. Her brother was being commented upon negatively by the American crowd, and she went and defended her brother. So it's excellent. The female are becoming more and more, they're taking more active part. That's excellent. She should keep it up.
Great.
And, there is a beautiful saying in English that comes from England, actually, that better to stand on your own legs rather than borrowing the crutches from somebody else.
Absolutely.
Our culture we may belong to, doesn't matter Indian or Chinese or Spanish, in a respectful way, we must protect and defend our culture.
Great. Very, very well said. Thank you so much for that.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Indrajit. Nice hearing from you. Take care. सत श्री अकाल जी, आप कितों कॉल कर रहे हो? हेलो, सत श्री अकाल जी.
Hello, yes.
हाँ जी.
I'm calling from Modesto, California.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Tell me, what would you like to share with us today?
Actually, listening to Jasmine, I was kind of relating to a situation after the 9/11 that had happened with me personally that was somewhat similar to what Jasmine was saying about the turban incidents. My husband, when I got married, it was arranged marriage, and my family wanted me to have a Sodhi, family. So we went to India because our roots are, culture is still there. So they wanted to get someone from India. So when he came here, all his life he was used to wearing, the turban. And after the 9/11 incident, he was approached by several other culture people that was threatening him, like, we're going to kill you, you're Pakistani, you go back to your, country, you don't belong here. So one day, without asking me, my parents, or anybody, he went and he cut his hair. And he came to the house. When he knocked on the door, I couldn't even recognize my own husband. I told him, please come in. My husband should be coming from work, shortly. And when I looked outside, his pickup was there. And I said, well, my husband is already here. And when I looked at him again, I was devastated. I said, what have you done to yourself? He said, well, to live in this country, you have to become one of them to survive here. Wow. I said, why do you say that? He said, because tomorrow it could be my life that they take just because of my turban or because I have a beard, because I don't fit into the culture. So this is something I can always have. I can always grow a beard. I can always wear a turban. But to succeed in life or to make something out of yourself in this country, this is what I had to do. And my kids were afraid of my own husband. They didn't know that was their father. Wow. I was having a hard time because this is the person I married, in 20 years. I was married to him. And to his parents, it was like, well, since his childhood, I have raised my son, with, to have a turban. It was just a very emotional period in time. And till this day, he will not wear a turban, only like when we go to a special occasion like weddings or maybe, family function, because my parents are very religious, Amritari family. We are from a background of where everybody wears a turban. So he kind of feels like, he has, given a big part of him up just so he can fit into the culture here and not be discriminated